All right, some good news if you're trans and living in Germany. Germany is set to vote on a law to make it easier to change your gender. So, let's just get right to the article. German lawmakers are expected to vote on Friday on legislation that would make it easier for transgender, intersex, and non-binary people to legally change their name and gender. The self-determination bill would allow adults to change their name and gender at registry offices. The change would replace the existing transsexual law and mean that individuals would no longer need to present a medical certificate or obtain expert opinions to change gender, the German Justice Ministry said. Germany's top court has struck down other parts of that 1980 law that required transgender people to get divorced and sterilized and to undergo gender transition surgery. The fact that that law was from 1980 is just, ew. That's just something that you would do in the Middle Ages or something. Under the new legislation, adults would need to notify registry offices 3 months before making a change to their name and gender. They would have to wait 1 year before a new change. Minors 14 years and older would be able to change their name and gender with the approval of their parents or guardians. Now, granted, parents and guardians aren't always welcoming of such a thing, but at the same time, you wouldn't want to just grab someone off the street and say, hey, would you sign this? So, I do get it. In the case of children younger than 14, parents or guardians would have to make registry office applications on their behalf. Again, not the most ideal because not all parents and guardians are that understanding. But at the same time, what else are you going to do? You can't just have a free-for-all as to what adult is going to do that. So I do get it, but on the other hand, the new bill does not involve any revisions to Germany's rules for gender transition surgery. It also provides for operators of gyms and changing rooms for women to continue to decide who has access. Okay, not ideal, and I have no idea what the rules are for gender transition for the surgeries. That I have no clue. So I can't comment on that. I hope I come close to saying this name. Nike Slavik, one of 2 transgender women who were elected as MPs in 2021, said ahead of the vote in Germany's lower house of parliament, the Bundestag, that the new rules would have saved her over a year of dealing with courts, seeking expert assessments, and spending nearly 2,000 euros. We finally want to make it easier, Slavik, a lawmaker with the Greens, one of the parties in the coalition government, told ARD television. Many other countries have gone this way, and Germany is simply following suit in significantly simplifying this registration. Among others, Spain's parliament approved legislation in 2023 that allows people aged 16 and up to change their gender on identity papers without medical advice. The Scottish Parliament passed a bill in 2022 that would allow people aged 16 or older to change the gender designation on identity documents by self-declaration. That was vetoed by the UK government, a decision that Scotland's highest civil court upheld in December. Yeah, that was quite a time. The German cabinet approved the proposal for the self-determination law last August. At the time, Transgender Europe, a nonprofit organization, said that while the law was an important step, there were some concerns. Their recommendations include removing the 3-month waiting period and 1-year block and allowing minors 14 and older to use the same procedures as adults. Again, I understand that minors should be allowed to choose, to know for themselves whether they are trans. On the other hand, they're minors. So yeah, I'm unsure what to think about that one. On the one hand, it would be great if they had an adult who would be willing to speak on their behalf, because let's face it, not all parents and guardians are actually someone that you want to have help you. But at the same time, we don't want kids that young to be making these decisions, but they're not, they can always change it back if they make a mistake. So now, the 3-month waiting period, I'm not sure what that's for. If that's just simply a procedural thing, or, just red tape, or if there's an actual reason behind it. I mean, this isn't like the 3-month cooling off period that people are that some states have for guns. This isn't a matter of, oh, why don't you cool off, and once you've done that, maybe you can make a level-headed decision, or, because that makes no sense. It would make sense that the transphobes would want that. That would make sense, but otherwise, no. And blocking people from changing for a year. Now, that one is probably due to, people wanting to do it for shady shit. And maybe that's why the 3-month waiting period as well. Because someone might want to change their name, change their gender, so they could, fool people. So this is a compromise for people who think that all being trans is fooling people. Maybe that's it. This is some sort of compromise, which, I mean, I get it. Maybe these people have been watching too many spy movies, but I can see why they would be concerned that somebody might go through the rigmarole of changing their name and then immediately wanting to change it back because they've accomplished whatever it is they want. So, not ideal, but I also get why they're doing that. Like I said, they probably watched too many spy movies, or the opposition who had a problem with this proposal watched too many spy movies. Regardless, it is what it is. And, hopefully sometime down the road, people will realize that people aren't using this law to do shady shit, and they'll make it even easier. So, with that, I believe I've said everything I wanted to from this article, and I will see you guys in the next video.